Eddie, should there be human trafficking?
No.
That's where we'd cut through that. And then cut this part. Shit. Eddie, should there be human trafficking?
No.
Eddie, why should there be no human trafficking?
Well, to me, human trafficking, when I hear human trafficking term, I think of people being taken against their own will and then being sold into some kind of slavery internationally. I don't think that it's okay for individuals to be taking other individuals against their own free will and forcing them to do something that they don't want to do. It is anti-capitalist, it is anti-liberty, and I'm against it.
I disagree! I think it is such an essential part of humanity to be able to do something like that. People should be able to trade people with relative ease, because people by themselves are commodities. We are indeed set pieces in the world, and we should be able to sell one another like nothing. And if you can't survive, then you definitely should be a slave. If you can't fight off your captors or kill your owner, then you are a dog, and you deserve to be treated like a dog. If you disagree with that, you disagree with social Darwinism. You disagree with the fact that it is the strongest who survives, and that is the law of the land. I'm abandoning all political asylums in society with this, because when it comes down to it, it is this person is a stronger, more powerful animal than the other person, and they should be able to control and sell out whoever they want to.
Well, that is very interesting. So that would basically mean that while being in favor of slavery, you would also be in favor of anarchy, correct?
Yes.
So you do not believe in any government to be able to protect the rights of each individual, to make sure that one individual does not infringe on the rights of others, which also means that you do not believe in rights, correct?
In this particular instance, I feel like you should earn your rights.
So
earn your rights by fighting and having lots of money.
So rights are earned by people trying to take control of the other. Basically, it's a race war. It's a class struggle. It's people fighting others.
It's not a race war as much as it's a class war. It really is a class war. The person who is the strongest, who has the most power, is the most dominant. This is elitism at its prime. It's got nothing to do with race. You can own whites, you can own, this is going really bad so fast, you can own anybody. It's not about who's owning who, it's about who owns everyone.
So it's, to you, the person who deserves to be at top is the one who can force others into submission.
Yes, just like every other species on this planet.
So you believe that humans are the same thing as all lower animals?
Absolutely.
Well, to me, I believe that what makes humans so much more evolved than the lower animals is their cognitive abilities. The ability to advance science and technology and basic progression of being able to trade among each other and not having to worry about being stabbed in the back. It's all about communication. That is what has differed human beings from the lower animals. We are communicators, and part of being against communication is being okay with deception, being okay with violence against one another, where we infringe on each other's rights.
When looking at,
you are basically saying that we shouldn't be humans, we should just be like animals.
When looking at that, there are more people in the world who don't think that way than that way. And so when you're looking at a lot of the preem problems going on right now, between the economical issues, the wartime issues, if you had an oligarchy almost of people who just owned lots of people, I think that lots of problems would be less big as they are now. Things would be able to settle out a little easier, because it would get rid of like union wages, it'd get rid of individual rights that people feel entitled to. It'd get rid of so many things, so it would kill off a lot of the independent thought that's creating all these problems, because these people's individual and selfish reasons, opposed to thinking of the greater good, which is for the greater good of humanity, as opposed to the individual.
So what you're saying is that individuals aren't really the issue at all here. It's more about the greater good, the collective being able to turn all these human beings, which to you I guess are merely ants, cattle, to be used for something that is much bigger, which whoever's in charge is the one who decides which is much bigger. Well, the thing is, I mean, as much as you may think that it will work, it never has worked historically. The only time where we can maybe say that things like this have worked is when scientists were treated with higher regard among the Nazis. Now, Nazism and Holocaust was terrible. However, one thing that did benefit Germany itself, not the rest of the world, and eventually, of course, there was the collapse of the Third Reich, so it showed that even if you try to be a tyrant, it doesn't work. But even so, regard for capitalists, the corporations, and the scientists to do what they do best, which is to do science and is to trade among each other and create technology, that did work for Germany for a short amount of time until, of course, everyone else decided that they don't want Germany to be at the top. And of course, tyrants were taken down, SS was taken down, Germany was at a collapse for a little while, so it didn't work out in the end. But what I'm saying is that...
If I may briefly interject.
Okay.
My point is actually building right alongside that. The only downfall, I think, to that problem was that Hitler was a bastard. Other than that, I mean, if you take away that, if you take away the Jews being mistreated, I'm not talking about mistreating slaves. I'm talking about treating slaves as workers, but keeping them all on a slave basis, if that makes sense. You're not going to mistreat the slaves, but you're going to keep them at a regular basis. And by that, you could cause a great amount of advancement by having people recognize that there are people in society that are greater than you, who get paid more than you, so that they can forward society on the way they are right now. I think if you can apply that with the current state of technology that we're in now, where it's a lot easier for us to communicate with each other despite being slaves, I think they would be able to rocket our advancement as a society even farther than it has in the previous, 2,000 years.
So you do believe in government, and not only do you believe in government, but you believe in big government, big brother, basically Stalin. You're basically saying
communism with slaves. That's really what I'm going for.
So so you're not for anarchy, you're for Stalinism, state communism, state socialism.
Yeah.